I'm Russell Miller, the grandparent, the father of Brenda, who married Troy, and I'm trying to tell a story here, and I'm being teased as I'm doing it. Anyway, one day, and about 1962, we'll make it up. A tall gentleman with dark hair and a chisel nose came to me and asked me if I had some equipment that I was willing to sell him so he could start a business cleaning houses and businesses. His name was Don Aslett, and I said, yes, I do have some equipment, and I'd be glad to sell it. So I gave him what was a good price. I made pretty good money on that. And so then I went out and bought myself a suit so I could go on a mission. And Don started the Varsity Cleaners then, house cleaning business. And so 2 years later, I came home and went to BYU to stay out of the military. And one Wednesday afternoon, I ran out of money, and so I borrowed $5 from Dee Risenmay, my roommate, put gas in a Pontiac car that I had, drove to Pocatello. I got there about 5 o'clock, 5:30 Wednesday evening, and drove to Don's business place. He had a shop, and he was cleaning up his paint equipment, and I asked him if he had anything that I could do as work so I could make some money, go back to school at BYU. And he said I was a sight for sore eyes, because he had this big job at Park Price Pontiac in Pocatello, and he said you can work as much as you have energy to do. This is a test week at Idaho State, and nobody wants to work. And I've got this big job at Park Price, and you're welcome to work. You know how to use the wall washing machine that you sold me, and nobody wants to work it because it's a hard work. Anyway, so I worked many hours, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the evening I finished up. I earned enough money to go back to BYU on Sunday and finished out the quarter. I worked with a wall washing machine out of Idaho Falls, and then went back to school at Idaho State. I met a pretty blonde girl, fell in love
How'd you meet her?
at the LDS Institute. She was active in the Institute, and so was I. And we courted and decided that we should get married. But first of all, I had to go and ask Bill, her father, for her hand. And so Bill and Lula came to Pocatello to visit Karen and Louise, who was going there now. And Bill invited me to go out and sit in the car with him. And so I said yes. So I got out there and I don't remember the exact word. Anyway, I asked him if I could marry his daughter. And he was happy that she'd found somebody that would do that. Anyway, so then he went back to Montpelier and with Grandma, and they were happy. And I courted Karen then, and gave her a ring, something I can't remember much about. But anyway, we got engaged, and she was in nursing and needed to go to some training, a summer training in Denver as part of her schooling. And so we corresponded by mail, which was a very, very good thing to do. I think I learned more about her and her life from those letters that she wrote than I would have any other way. Anyway, then we just decided on a date of October 19th, 1961, and we met at the Logan Temple and were sealed for time and eternity. Beautiful fall day. The leaves were beautiful, orange. She had an orange little pothead hat that she wore. I have pictures to prove that. And so we were married and had a fine day. And some of the friends on her side of the family and mine came to the wedding, and we lived happily ever after for 60, well, let's see how many years.
48.
48. Yeah, that's close enough. I don't remember exactly the circumstances of the situation, but the LDS Institute in Pocatello, they invited a guy who had a business of rings, and he was to entice the LDS kids to come to him for his rings. He offered a ring, a red ruby ring, and as a gift, and I won that little gift. And so when he gave it to me, then the next week during the institute class, I couldn't keep myself from giving that to her. And of course all the other kids were then quite happy, because that was like an engagement ring and we had.
What kind of stone was it?
Ruby.
Do you still have that?
I don't know.
Okay. I've seen you wear a red ring. I didn't know if that was from that or from later on in life.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I could look on have when she passed away and they were at the mortuary. Barbara got her wedding ring that we had. I was a pitcher in high school at Idaho Falls High School, and quite well renowned for my skill. I enjoyed baseball, and so when I went to Idaho State, I went to the baseball coach and told him I was interested in playing. What did I need to do to make myself available? And he said, well, you need to grow up a little taller, 6 inches or so. This happened. Babe Casher was the baseball coach, and I knew what I needed to do. I knew more than the coaches I had. Anyway, I enjoyed baseball, and I knew what I needed to work out during the winter and get myself ready to be on the team. And so he said, well, you can come down, get a hold of this kid here who's going to be the catcher this year, and go into the place where they pitched and worked out and get yourself ready. And so that's when he met me. There was another kid from Pocatello that was a big husky kid, about 6 foot tall, and so we were out pitch throwing with this catcher, and Babe Casher came out and said, asked the catcher if he'd been running, and this other kid whose name I can't remember, if he'd been doing his runs and exercise. And then he turned to me and he said, what are you? Are you the pigtail? Now I knew what the pigtail was. Back in the day when you had a local team and you had practices, they took the youngest, littlest guy that wasn't very good, and they had him go out into the cornfield, whatever, and when they would foul the ball off, the pigtail would be in charge of getting it and putting it back in play. So I knew what a pigtail was, and I said, no, I'm going to be your pitcher this year. Oh, okay. The 6 inches taller is another story. Anyway, so then I did become one of his top pitchers and had a 4 wins and 3 loss record before I stopped playing baseball at Idaho State. Played for 2 years and enjoyed it. Finished it up. That was the end of the baseball. Played softball for the church in Roy.
That was fun to watch. Slow pitch baseball, softball.
You said that was fun. That I took the kids on with, can't even remember the guy's name now. You can see him. Big husky guy.
In your ward?
Yeah, he was an award. He was in our state presidency in Roy. Every year I took the Boy Scouts and the Explorers. Or what was the next group up? Anyway, the next group up, we took them on a 50-mile hike, and then the alternate year we'd take them to the scout camp. Shoot, you should let me read my story. The bishopric meeting, I announced that I probably would be released next year or so, and I said if I ever get a chance to pick a job that I'd like to be the scoutmaster. And Bishop Jensen, who was called to be the bishop after me, he remembered that. And so I got my wish. Scoutmasters were hard to find. Good scoutmasters were hard to find.
Troy's story's a little bit different than your story.